What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel Hand Waving. Your friend Shinobi Nexus 2.0 is here again with a brand new Naruto fanfic that's going to change everything. Today's fanfic is titled, What If Naruto Fought Orochimaru, but Kushina Returned with Female Sasuke and Tayuya? Part 2. Let's start this fanfic. All I got was a cute Uzumaki. They were going to bleed her dry. Every day that she stayed in this place was taking a month off of her life. Probably literally. The world spun around her and it was all she could to keep from falling over. She hated this feeling like she was a used-up juice pouch, ready to be discarded until they needed her again. Worse, her mind's eye was down. It was too dangerous to move. She might run into someone that wanted to use her again. At this rate, it would be her last time if it happened again. She was already running on empty. Girl, the ninja said, rolling his shoulder. I'm sorry. Karen bowed. I shouldn't have stayed. You're right, I'll leave. She darted for the door. It was rare, but sometimes the ones she healed were hungry for seconds. This proved to be a fatal mistake. She rushed through the door and ran head first into someone, knocking her glasses off. Worse, that someone was with the head ninja. There wasn't any chance of her eating today. Maybe if she apologized. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking where I was going in. She bowed 3 times, holding the third one and finally opening her eyes. She saw it. Even with her eyesight blurry in the minor villages, it was something looked at with fear and envy. But ninja everywhere respected it. A symbol is one of the strongest ninja in the world. The hat of a cage. Worse, it was the hat of the Hokage. Great. She just had to run into some super powerful Konoha ninja that the head ninja was probably desperately trying to appease. Damn it. Why didn't she feel them before this? Her mind's eye had only been down for 10 minutes at most. Oh, a woman's voice, calm and so much like her mother's, fluttered through the air like a butterfly. Are you okay? Sorry, I really should have watched where I was going. Red. A curtain of red filled the air, blocking out everything. I like your hair, Yano. It is almost the same as mine. The woman continued to speak. But Karen could say nothing. Who was this woman? Lady Kushina. Please disregard her. She's nothing more than a staff here at the hospital. Staff, huh? Last she checked, she was nothing more than a tool to be used until it broke. Kushina didn't seem to respond to him at all. Instead, she reached down towards her hat and picked up Karen's glasses. My assistant always gets on me for walking into stuff all the time. She keeps saying that I need glasses. If I did need glasses. Kushina placed them onto Karen's head, pushing some of the hair out of the way. I hope that they'd make me look as cute as they do you. The woman in front of her was beautiful and kind, with purple eyes that told her everything Karen could ever want to know about the woman. More so than her mind's eye ever could. My name's Kushina. She stuck her hand out, smiling at her. Sorry for bumping into you like that. Hey, what's your name? Karen, she half mumbled, reaching out to Kushina's hand. The woman grabbed hers with both hands and shook it. Then one of her hands moved forward, pushing up Karen's sleeve and tracing one of her bite marks. That's Do they treat you well here? Kushina whispered, but it sounded more like the coming of a storm. Her smile was still there. Her eyes hadn't changed shape, but something had changed. Like a sleeping animal had just woken up and was out for blood. Just as quickly as it appeared, it vanished. And Karen found Kushina's wrist in front of her mouth. Here, take a bite. Are you sure? Karen stared at the arm wide-eyed. She had never tried to bite anyone but herself before. Yay, trust me. It's an old Uzumaki trick. Uzumaki trick. What did that mean? Just as you can give your own life force to others, you can receive it to Yano. That actually made sense. Karen bit down on Kushina's and felt the woman's life force pour into her. It was a complicated chakra of so many different flavors washed into her, some of it vile, others like raging fire, but the majority of it was like drinking pure water after a hot day of work. In no time at all, she was fully restored. But it wasn't done yet. Her scars were healing. There. That's better, right? Kushina pulled her wrist away and rubbed Karen on the head. A cute little girl like you shouldn't have any scars. Sorry if my chakra tasted funny, it's kind of a whole bunch of things mixed together. Actually, I probably shouldn't have given you my chakra. If you start seeing color, let me know. She was seeing colors alright. Just looking at Kushina's chakra was something else. A lot of her chakra looked coiled inside of her, dripping with energy, while other bits of it felt fake, like it was chakra that had been altered. Some of the chakra roared through the coils like a caged beast. And it was all held together by a glow of regular chakra that told Karen one thing. She was safe. And that anybody that tried to make her unsafe was at least 30 kinds of. Now then, Daichi. Kushina reached down, dusting off her hat and placing it on, putting herself between Karen and the head ninja. Actually, it's Kageyama, Lady Kushina. The head ninja fought back a frown. And Karen smiled. Kushina waved him off. Whatever you say, Tanaka. Anyways, I like this girl. I'm taking her. Kageyama glared at her. And Karen did something she hadn't done in a long time. She hid behind a woman and stuck her tongue out at him. She felt like she was 5 again. You can't, she's useful to us. And that is not part of our treaty. You know, I was kind of hoping you would have said what you wanted. Kushina sighed and patted Karen on the head. You see, I kind of have a lot of stuff you could ask for. I mean, Tsunade's in the village. You'd give me Tsunade for that tool. He let his guard, his aura matching his words. Kushina laughed. Ha! If I sent her here, she'd make it a crater and go on a drinking binge until I send my son after her, only for her to say her hand slipped or something. But if you really want a drunk time bomb, I can send her here. Well, I can put in the request. She basically does what she wants. Oh hey, I know. You like Karen here because she can heal your idiots, right? Idiots. Well, if they're getting damaged enough that they need to rely on scaring a little girl to heal them, then yay, they're idiots. Do you talk to your own ninja that way? Yay. Especially Kakashi. Kushina's hands twitched and her smile was actually rather frightening. But anyway, here's my deal. You can send 2 ninja with me to Konoha and I'll talk Tsunade into training them. Think about it. 1 girl for 2 apprentices of Tsunade. Kageyama looked at her and shrugged, his smile full of pride like he had just won the lottery. He was trading a dried up juice box for 2 potentially powerful ninja. I'd be a fool to pass that up. Very well, Lady Kushina, I agree to your terms. Lady Kushina. Oh please, call me Mom, Kushina, Momkage if you're feeling really formal, or if you want to freak people out, call me head bitch of Konoha. But only if you don't think I'm an actual bitch. Kushina spun down to look at her, tears in her eyes and a cute pout on her lips. You don't think I'm a bitch, right? No, of course not. Karen's smile died. Her whole life was now on her back and she was going to Konoha under the protection of this mysterious red-headed woman that was the Hokage. Apparently, she was an Uzumaki. She had heard that name before in the history books, a clan that had been wiped out before she was born. And this woman was one too. But that didn't explain why. I just wanted to know why you're doing this for me. 'Cause I wanted The worry on Kushina's face was replaced by a silly look with her tongue sticking out. Was this really the Hokage? But if that's not good enough. You're an Uzumaki, you're cute, like super cute. I wish I was as cute as you were when I was your age. And you were suffering. Satisfied. Kind of. It really didn't matter too much. She could feel that Kushina was a good person. Even if she was rather odd. Okay, very odd. Besides, Sasuke was in Konoha. This was like destiny. She'd be able to meet him and thank him for saving her, then they'd fall in love and she'd be his loving wife that would see him off on dangerous missions and then slowly heal with lots of bed rest. Fine. You also remind me of me and I want you to marry my son. Kushina huffed, flicking a booger out of her nose that cracked the window it landed on. What? Marriage? But I already have someone I like in Konoha. Oh come on, really? Kushina pouted like a bear that couldn't reach a beehive. I'm not even going to force you. Watch, I'll introduce you to him and my other son and my assistant, and Sakura. Right, Sakura. She follows us around for some reason. Anyways, just keep an open mind that he's going to be the Hokage one day and that he's single and I want grandbabies. He's also your age. As they approached the guest house reserved for important visitors, Karen felt her throat tighten. She heard shouting from inside. She prepared herself for the worst. The family of someone that would just pick her up off the street that was also the Hokage must be at least 3 kinds of crazy. When they opened the door, it was like a hurricane of swear words had been bottled up for 100 centuries. And then viscously shaken. What the asterisk dollar hash percent carat hash Kushina. You. Hash percent hash. Hash carat percent hash dollar carat 4. Hash percent $43 carat percent hash dollar carat percent carat dollar carat. Hash dollar carat hash why the hash percent carat did you hash dollar percent hash percent time e hash dollar up you hash dollar percent dollar hash goddamn dollar hash percent dollar hash airheaded bimbo. All of that came out from a very angry looking redhead that was currently tied to the chair via chains. Flaking her was a girl her age with pink hair, a boy with blonde hair and Sasuke. Wow. Language young lady. Kushina let out a low whistle like wind howling through a canyon. I told you that I didn't want you following me around today. Shoyo said that he wanted to meet alone. And I hash dollar said to hash dollar carat dollar have fun getting hash percent hash carat hit on all day by some dollar carat hash bastard. The redhead growled, stomping her bare feet on the ground. It was then that the redhead's fiery gaze fell upon Karen. And the anger seemed to vanish instantly. Did you pick up another stray? Yep. Kushina pulled Karen in tightly. Oh, so she was a stray now. This is Karen, she's an Uzumaki. Karen, the cute girl with pink hair, is Sakura, she stalks my 2 sons. Said girl blushed at the accusation and muttered something under her breath. The one in the chains is Tayuya, she's my assistant and makes sure I don't do anything too crazy. Tayuya muttered more curses and the job sucking. The blonde one is my son Naruto, and I guess you know the other one cause you just said his name. Anyways, Kushina wagged her finger at Naruto, Sasuke, and Tayuya. She's going to marry one of you. Kushina wagged her finger at the 2 boys and the angry red. Why the hell are you pointing at me for? Tayuya stomped, trying to shake free from her chair. Because you basically scream that you're a hardcore lesbian. Why do you think that I haven't set you up with my son yet? Kushina shrugged like it was no big deal. And Karen wondered if it was too late to escape. I'm sorry, I don't speak nerd. There was nothing quite as amazing as coming home after a long trip and crashing down onto her bed and just being able to sleep. The reports were done. Tsunade didn't burn down the village, and all of her children were safe and sound under the watchful eye of Tayuya. Tayuya was a good person. She'd make sure that everybody went to bed one way or another. Probably. The girl was on the highway of becoming a drunkard by the time she was 20 though. Maybe she should give her a vacation of some kind. Ooh, that sounds great. A nice relaxing vacation somewhere sunny and warm with a nice beach. It was a nice though, but she'd need to work out some details. Like when, where, and who would she take? It was something to dream about. Minato always was jealous of her ability to pass the out whenever she wanted. Like right about. Good evening, Lord Orochimaru. Well, that woke her the up. Kushina opened her eye to glare at the soon-to-be corpse that was doing a bunch of things she hated. Waking her up, surprising her, calling her Orochimaru, and sounding like he needed to be punched. Oh, and he had a punchable face. It was that 4-eyed guy that used to serve Orochimaru. Kirito. Awe Kabuto, she remembered his name because it sounded like, I'm an idiot. The hell do you want? He better answer good or else she was going to bury him alive. Actually, she was going to seal him. Then she was going to seal the seal. And then find out what happens when an animal eats a double-sealed thing. Maybe Gamabunta. Kabuto didn't get up from his kneel, it was just like the Anbu reported to her. Except for Hoshi, but Hoshi was a prick. I have come with a status update of all your facilities. And I must congratulate you on a successful infiltration of Konoha. Pretending to be Kushina Uzumaki and installing yourself as the Hokage was nothing short of brilliant. Now you also have Sasuke Uchiha in your own home, but you also have the Kyuubi Jinchuriki complete trust. Truly a genius move on your part. Lord Orochimaru. She really hated how he said, Lord Orochimaru, like it was two sentences and each syllable was its own word. I'm not Orochimaru, kid. As you say, Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto managed to bow even deeper. If you're ready for the report, I can give it now. My name is Kushina. Kushina. She sighed, sitting up in her bed. Okay. So she was going to listen to this report, send Anbu to whatever Orochimaru and this creepy kid did. Then she was going to figure out how many times she could seal someone. She sealed a city before, shouldn't be too hard to seal one little prick. But fine. Give me your report. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Seriously, was he messing with her, or was he that stupid? Both. To be fair, messing with her and not being funny about it was kind of stupid. Underground Base C-31 has finished its repairs on the Shark tank with all subjects accounted for. Base 223 has been wiped out. Your library near the Valley of the End is fully stocked and prepped for your transfer. Labs 31, 11A, and Omega have been discovered and are currently being ransacked by ninja villages. Root Base 1 has been shut down, and Red Squadron has successfully blown up the Death Star. The gate to Narnia is still locked, but the dwarves are getting close to a breakthrough. Rogue Squadron has been eliminated and performed badly in the box office. I'm making shit up right now. Why are you still reading this? The Raikage is currently brooding that his tea was slightly too cold and his advisors are attempting to set him up. It is very unlikely that he would ever consider dating someone. He also hates redheads. So don't get your hopes up. The Mist is still in rebellion, but I believe that the rebels will be victorious soon. I have sent several squads to gather anything of value. So far they have reported the Ark of the Covenant and all 6 Harry Potter films. Yes, there's just 6. Calling something part 1 and 2 does not make it 2 separate movies. Suna has a new cage and appears to have a fondness for sleeping. Atasuki appears to be rather confused about something, but your old partner Itachi has been seen in East Philadelphia where a couple of fools were up to no good. Additionally, Jugo has been acting up and Kushina fell backward, snoring loudly. What the is going on here? Kushina opened her eye to see and hear Kabuto giving his report and her alarm clock standing in the doorway. A cute little Karen was holding onto the girl for dear life. Tayuya pointed towards Kabuto. What the is he doing here? Whoa Tayuya, I knew you were a lesbian, but I didn't expect you to corrupt Karen so fast. Quit projecting on me, you old hag. Tayuya flipped her the bird. She slept in my room because all the other beds are full. Now, what the is Four Eyes doing here? Kushina shrugged, righting herself so that the floor wasn't the ceiling. Language, young lady. And I don't know, he just kind of showed up last night and has been giving his report ever since. Do you think he's busted? Kabuto continued to drone on, oblivious to the world around him. Then he looked up with that cold smile of his. And then there is Konoha, which currently has you as the Hokage and the Sound 4 working within the Hokage office as trusted advisors. Ah, Tayuya, it is good to see you alive and well. Can I kill him? Tayuya pointed the sharp end of her kunai at him. I don't trust him, Karen mumbled from behind Tayuya. Those two were so cute. Like sisters. She should get Karen to call Tayuya big sister. His chakra feels nasty. I assure you, Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto stood, hands still crossed over his chest. There is no need to act rashly. If I have displeased you, please give me a task to earn your favor once again. Kushina snorted, flopping her hair over her shoulder. Find my son a girlfriend and you got a deal. But she has to be like me. Bonus points if she's a redhead. She still hadn't given up on Tayuya, Karen, Sakura, and turning Gaara into a girl. One of those things were bound to happen. Probably her son was cute, funny, and adorable. And he was going to be a hottie when he grew up. Probably. But having more options was a good thing. Hell, look at her, she only had one option and ended great. Well, she technically had two, but nothing was going to happen with Makoto and everybody knew that. As you wish, Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto bowed and walked out of her room, sliding past Tayuya, who kept the pointy end of her kunai pointed at him the whole time. It's Kushina, you knob. And next time knock on the front door. And stay out of my room. I'm serious. She huffed, blowing some hair out of her face. Did that guy really just sneak into her room and watch her sleep the whole night? What a creep. I think we need better security. You're the one that said you were the Hokage and that you didn't need any security. Tayuya had a point, as much as she hated to admit it. Anyways, now that you're up, get dressed, you have like 6 meetings today, we need to enlist Karen, and Jiraiya really wants to speak to you about something. But I just got back. Kushina flopped onto her bed. Can't you take it easy on me just once, Tayuya? I mean, really, it's not fair you're taking out your frustration on me. It's not fair for us that you're living promiscuously through your son because you can't get over your husband is dead. Too far. Just a bit. Jiraiya was becoming one of her increasingly least favorite people. So let me get this straight. You want to take Naruto out of the village? Yep. Jiraiya nodded. Kushina nodded, letting the man's own words sink into that rock he called a brain. Knowing full well that Atsuki is still out there being biju hungry. They're laying low at the moment. Jiraiya scratched his cheek, looking away from her and towards Tayuya for support. Her assistant gave him nothing but the finger. That a girl. It should be safe. Haha. And you want to do what exactly? She leaned forward, using her hands to hide her smile. She was enjoying this. Watching Jiraiya squirm was just so satisfying. To train him to use the Kyuubi. Kushina finished for him, nodding to herself. And you think that the best way to do this is to take him away from me? The best person in the world to deal with the Kyuubi, both in experience, ceiling, and these really super awesome chakra chains that basically make him roll over like a puppy. Well, I also want to train him and go around whoring and drinking while you train my son. Haha, Minato told me about how you train. Kushina smiled. I will allow you to train Naruto, but you don't get to leave Konoha unless I say so. Oh come on, Kushina, the boy needs to get out there and see the world. It'll be healthy for the brat. Jiraiya waved his hand. I'll even try to introduce him to some girls along the way. I know about this village that's filled with women where if a man beats them in a fight they have to marry them. Jiraiya. Kushina clicked her teeth and shook her head. I'm not going to trust you with finding my son a girlfriend. Especially how your track record is about one girl per failed attempt at getting Tsunade to date you. Ouch. Besides, that's my project, not yours. Like I said, you can train Naruto here in Konoha. I can even take him off mission duty and you can take him on little trips. But for 3 years? No way in hell. Kushina smiled. That's the conditions. Take them or leave them. Bah. You're lucky I see Minato in the brat. I know. Kushina smiled, turning her attention to the picture of Minato she kept on her desk, right next to one of her son. I see a lot of him too. Just let me be his mom for a little while longer, okay? You'll never stop being his mom. Red-headed step clone. It was 5 kinds of miserable. The first kind was miserable that had been following her around since she had come back alive. That one probably wouldn't ever go away. It was not unique. Nearly everyone knew the pain of loneliness. Everybody in her house knew this misery. The second kind was knowing that she had things to do yet was both unable and unwilling to act. It was the misery of procrastination. The third kind was closely tied to the first in that she was worried what she was putting off. Another stupid meeting this Monday, followed by a community project that she needed to somehow get the money together. Maybe a kunoichi swimsuit calendar. Actually, wait, that was a good idea. Tayuya. Kushina called, rolling on her couch as the overbearing summer heat stole the life from her. The ceiling fan was spinning as fast as it could before it would fly off and join its people in the kingdom in the land of fans. The fifth kind of misery, she'll get back to the fourth, was this damn summer heat. Sure, Suna had been unbearable. But it was a dry heat. This was like living in hot soup and it sucked. She was sweaty and sticky wherever she went. Apparently, temperature control was not a feature Orochimaru installed in her body. Off, Tayuya's voice drifted in from outside. Her assistant was smart, taking this opportunity to fill up a child's pool in the shade outside. Something she wouldn't dare share with anybody. Even as her cute little son stared at her longingly. And that was her fourth kind of misery. The inability to get her son any kind of girlfriend. She knew he liked girls. He liked Sakura. Hell, he admitted to liking Karen and Tayuya as well, which meant she was on the right track. It just so happened that Sakura and Karen, well, they were. Come on, Sasuke. Sakura whined. When was the last time she slept at her own home again? She was the cute kind of boss and was a natural neat freak that was basically their maid at this point. Don't you want to go to the river with me? I have a brand new swimsuit. No way, Karen snarled. Of course, her most recent addition to the household and her fellow Uzumaki came pre-installed with a crush on Sasuke, which wasn't a bad thing per se, given how he was her son now. He wants to go to the movies with me. Sasuke said nothing, sitting on the kitchen table with 2 drinks in front of him, one from each girl. Despite how refreshing they looked, he refused to drink either of them. Drinking one would basically be saying he preferred Sakura or Karen. If anything, Sasuke was more attracted towards Tayuya or herself, judging by how often he stole a glance at her. Not that she could blame him, she was hot as hell. Tayuya was cute too, and was currently probably wearing something a little risky. A blank tank top that left her midriff exposed and a pair of shorts that might be about the same size as a pair of boxers. It was hot. It wasn't like she was always this perverted. Tayuya was a special case. The girl was adamant that she was never ever in a million years ever going to become any more related to her than she already was. Which meant dating Naruto was in the territory of no, and Sasuke would cause her to laugh so hard she'd fall over. A perfectly dysfunctional Uzumaki family. They even came with a divorced crazy aunt and uncle with Jiraiya and Tsunade. There was something there, but with those two it was hard to tell the difference between love or hate. Kakashi was their dog or something. Wait, what was she worried about again? It was hot. A knock came from the door. It wasn't the random knock that was someone coming to say hi, this was the obnoxious rhythmic knock of someone annoying showing up. She would know, she knocked in the same pattern every time. Tayuya. No, that was fair. It was their day off. Sakura. Kushina stared at the ceiling fan before looking back at the most responsible member of Team 7. Nope. She was making hard eyes at Sasuke. Hey, if she blocked out Sasuke it would look like Karen and Sakura were making lovey-dovey eyes at her. Now, if she just put Naruto there. Another knock. I got it, Naruto shouted, running a popsicle still hanging out of his mouth. At least she had one useful person in the house. He opened the door and stood there in silence for a few moments. Then slammed it shut. Mom, it's for you. Crud. Kushina pulled herself off the couch with a titanic effort. This better be worth it. Should she bother to be decent? That seemed like a lot of work. She was going to have to get dressed and then get undressed. What's the worst it could be? Jiraiya. Danzo. Random council member. Foreign dignitary. Nope. Let them realize that they're dealing with a bitch that has it all. Plus an ego. But being fat-headed was an Uzumaki thing. Who is it? She asked her son. 4 eyes. Naruto shrugged. Isn't he a doctor or something? Maybe Granny needs you. 4 eyes. 4 eyes. Oh right. Kimiko. Wait. No, that wasn't his name. Probably. Still, she better see what he wanted, mostly so she could throw him in jail sooner rather than later. Why was she letting him run free again? With a yawn, Kushina opened the door and put on her best resting bitch face for Kabuto. It was on lease from Tayuya. What you want? Good day, Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto gave her a curt nod, a sick smile on his face. He adjusted his glasses so that sun reflected off of them. I have come to report that I have succeeded in my mission. Mission? What mission? She turned her attention to the Kabuto's left where a slightly shorter than him figure stood wearing a brown cloak. She was slender, and her bare feet were chained together. Peeking under the hood, Kushina saw a few strands of red hair and a pale face. Oh right, Kabuto was supposed to find Naruto a girlfriend that was like her. You have you? Are you going to introduce us? Yes, Lord Orochimaru. With the snap of his fingers, the girl's cloak fell away, revealing what might as well be a miniature version of herself. She had long crimson red hair that stopped just short of her and the body of a 16-year-old that put Tayuya's to shame in a couple areas. But she was also really cute. I present to you subject B132,056,345, a hybrid clone from using your current body's DNA as well as that of Naruto Uzumaki, Tsunade Senju, and numerous other stabilizers to make sure that everything went well during her development. Her development is now that of a normal 16-year-old girl, so she will be able to live a normal life as a love interested for Naruto Uzumaki. Kushina blinked, eyeing the girl up and down. She was wearing a sundress that was a nice yellow color showing off her figure. The girl also gave Kabuto the evil eye like she wanted to punch him. Kushina like her. So let me get this straight, instead of going out and finding a girl, you made a girl. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. And you made her using my DNA and Naruto's DNA as well. She raised an eyebrow, turning her attention back to Kabuto. To be Naruto's love interest and future mother of his children. Yes, Lord Orochimaru, but I assure you, while she does have your DNA and that of Naruto's any children she births. The clone punched Kabuto in the arm, letting out a savage growl. Yep. She liked this girl. Will be stable. Kushina let out a low growl that made the girl smile. That's creepy as. She slammed the door in their face. There was no way that she was going to set her son up with what was basically his older sister. Even if she was probably no more than a few months old. Wait. Naruto's sister made her daughter. She opened the door again, grabbed the clone by the arm and pulled her inside. I like her. I'm keeping her. Piss off. No more cloning. Your mission isn't over. She slammed the door shut again. So do you have a name? Kushina asked her new daughter. God. She had a teenage daughter now. She was so not ready for this. No, I have number. The girl grunted each word. Great. Looks like someone was going to have to teach the girl basic speech, probably a bunch of stuff. The clone lifted up her wrist, showing off the barcode that was tattooed on her. You give name, Lord Oro. Kushina slapped a hand over the girl's mouth. No, you don't call me that. Call me Kushina, or if you're comfortable with me, Mom, okay. The girl nodded, and Kushina let her hand drop. You give name, Mom. It took all of her willpower not to stomp her feet and squeal. At least the girl, no, her daughter, understood her well enough, so that was good. Awesome, now let's see a name for you. Well, you're going to be Naruto's older sister, so Naruko, or maybe just Naru. What do you think? That lazy. Don't me, you're Naruko now, that was we can use both. Kushina smiled, pulling her newfound daughter into a hug. Now then, I'm sweaty as hell, so let me get changed and I'll introduce you to everybody. Feel free to explore the house. This was hell. This was a special kind of hell that he did not deserve. Sasuke groaned as Sakura tried to offer him an orange slice and Karen an apple slice. He wanted the strawberries, the ones that Tayuya had hoarded for herself and was currently eating in her oasis while reading her book. Leave me alone. Sasuke. Sakura leaned in close, smiling. I completely agree. Why don't you get lost, Karen? Me. His other live-in stalker tried to act offended. Clearly he's talking about you. You don't even live here. I've known him longer. True love knows no bounds. Great. They were arguing again. He didn't have the energy to deal with this today. He wanted to take a nap, maybe try to train when it cooled off, or talk to Tayuya as the only other sane person in their house. And of course, try to not stare at Kushina wearing basically nothing all day. He watched as she bounced down the hallway, a giant smile on her face. Apparently, the slamming of the front door was a good thing. Shame he couldn't hear the conversation over these two preening over him. Why couldn't they understand that he wanted nothing to do with them? More importantly, why was he still here? That answer came in when a woman walked into the kitchen and stole his breath away. Her long red hair flowed behind her like a pair of bloody angel wings. She was beautiful, with her one purple eye and one blue eye, and a pale face that was round like Kushina's. If anything, she almost looked like a younger version of his wannabe mother. You Sasuke. He nodded and she parted Karen and Sakura like they were a branch in her way. She placed one arm around his shoulder and straddled his waist. I Naruto, or Naru, not sure. Am Naruto's sister. She kissed him long and hard. And you boyfriend now. On second thought, this was heaven. Kushina's not in this one. Despite being perpetually pale, the summer sun agreed with Tayuya. Just lounging around in her miniature pool did wonders for her soul. It also helped that she had given herself a vacation. Running the village was hard work, especially when she had to keep Kushina in line as well. It was amazing that she hadn't killed anybody yet. She deserved a reward for not murdering someone. And it was all thanks to Naru that she was able to relax like this. The girl, despite coming with a Sasuke obsession built in, was a blank slate and a quick study. It took almost no time for Tayuya to show her the ropes of making sure Kushina didn't break the village. And after a year of teaching, she finally felt like she could take some time off. As to why she was still at home relaxing in her pool as opposed to leaving the village and going somewhere fun. Mostly because that shit was expensive, and because she had about a year's worth of cleaning up Kushina's emotional torment to do. Tayuya shifted in her pool, rolling her shoulders side to side. It was probably a good time to get out of it, she was out of anyways. Might as well get back to work as this up family's head doctor. At least Kabuto hadn't shown up since he brought Naru. She did not need any more basket cases in this place, especially not with Sakura all but living here while her and Karen studied medical jutsu as a way to get over Sasuke being taken by Naru. She hummed a tune, trying off, and placing on a white shirt that preserved more modesty than her black two-piece did. No pants though. Today was a no-pants day, besides Naruto probably didn't mind. She certainly caught the perv staring at her more than a few times. Stepping out from the kitchen, her drink refilled with just enough ice cubes, she made her way to Naruto's room. And entered the only way that she knew how to. As loud as possible. It was closer to a rampaging bull than a refined woman making her entrance. The door bounced off the wall, slamming back into place behind her as she leapt onto Naruto's bed, bouncing once before landing to look at the blonde, drink still intact. Naruto's room was every bit as boy as it could get. Bits of carpet could be seen through the clothes, and a pile of clean clothes sat on what was likely an empty dresser. The bed was messy, and what few books there were sat on a desk with the shelf space being used for a few knickknacks, scrolls, and kunai. And yet somehow it was still cleaner than Karen's or Kushina's room. She'd like to blame Sasuke's clean room on Naru, but the boy was actually neat. Sup, numbnuts. She took a sip from her drink, eyeing the blonde boy that was one of the more bearable people she had to deal with on a daily basis. He had grown up over the past year. Not a lot, but enough to showcase a bit of muscle on his body. He still wasn't a man by anybody's definition, but it was growing harder to call him a boy. Naruto barely reacted to her sudden intrusion, instead he looking up from his book, a manga to be exact, and raising an eyebrow at her. Did you run in here just to make my bed wet? You should be honored, it's the only time a girl will make your bed wet. She wiggled her butt onto his bed and bounced once, getting a wet smack of her hair. Besides, what are you doing home? Still depressed? I'm not depressed. And I'm not a redhead. Up next on things that aren't true, Kushina Uzumaki isn't insane, Naru hates Sasuke and Sakura and Karen are in a lesbian relationship. Wait, shit, that last one might actually be true. She stirred her drink, watching as Naruto's face began to burn. Teasing him had to be good for her skin or something. But really, what's been eating at you? How could you tell? Naruto turned in his chair, manga now closed at his desk. For Sake, you're sitting alone in your room reading a goddamn manga Naruto, in the middle of summer, instead of going out there and training, running around, pulling pranks, or peeping on hot girls with Jiraiya, and don't pretend you don't do that cause I've caught you more than once looking through that peephole you think I don't know about. Like really staying inside all day reading is something Sakura or Karen would do. She took a long sip of her drink, glaring at Naruto and letting her words sink in. Now tell me what's got your panties in a twist. I don't wear panties. PFF'd. Whatever, I don't kink shame, now tell me what's wrong. Naruto sunk into his chair. You're not going to leave me alone until I tell you, are you? Oh, so there is something wrong. She smiled at his pout, allowing the ice cubes of her drink to clang against the glass. But yay, I ain't leaving until we talk this shit out. Naruto groaned. Well, I mean, it's kind of my mom. She figured as much. Oh, no, what's she done now? She hasn't done anything and I'm happy she's a part of my life now. But, I don't know. I just feel like she's more obsessed with finding me a girlfriend than she is spending time with me. Naruto flopped his hands about, never keeping them still for long, like he was wringing out all the stress. I mean, I'm happy she does it, but at the same time, I don't know. Like she's just wasting her time. I mean, look at how many girls she's tried to set me up with, all of them have kind of not gone anywhere. Hey. She sat up and gave an obnoxious slurp from her mostly empty glass. This better not be about you thinking you're the problem here. You're a great guy, Naruto. And there are plenty of girls that would date you. Just not with your mom trying to push you down their throats with all the talk about marrying, cute babies, and whatever other nonsense she spouts. Do you really mean that? Naruto asked, his blue eyes all but pleading. Damn that insane woman. She meant well, probably. But she clearly wasn't helping. Tayuya snorted, reaching into her drink for a still fresh ice cube and crunched down onto it. It was still hot as balls. Have I ever lied to you once? Well, no, but nothing. Even if I was lying, which I'm not, by the way. You wouldn't even know because you've never seen me lie to you. She stood, kicking at the boxers that sat on the ground. Now come on. Let's get out of here, go to the movies, get some ice cream, just not be in this house. Studies say there's no better way to cure a teenage boy's depression than spending the day with a pretty girl. Naruto smiled, finally standing from his chair. Damn, he was taller than her now. Not by much, but by enough. Which, considering how she was hyper aware of how short she was, that meant she could spot an inch of difference from a mile away. So who's the pretty girl that'll be joining us? She punched him, right in the stomach. Just for that, you're paying for everything. Naruto buckled, clutching his stomach, doing his best to milk her brashness for all he could. Unfortunately, she was fresh out of pity. Why do I have to pay? You make more than me. 'Cause spending money on fun stuff is also a cure for depression. Probably. Made her feel better sometimes. Or at the very least it'll make me happy. Fine, should we get dressed or are you going to walk around in a bikini all day? I'll put on a skirt. So, which one do you want to see? Which one has the most explosions and the hottest chicks? Wow, Mom was right, you are a lesbian. Tayuya snorted, crossing her arms with a huff, rather than an actual skirt she had on a floral patterned towel wrapped around her waist. Except instead of flowers it has shuriken and was black and red. Naruto had opted for shorts and a plain orange shirt. They both opted for sandals. She's just projecting. My mom's not gay, she was married to my dad and had me. That's like the straightest thing ever. Naruto turned, pouting. Whatever, don't come crying to me when she brings home a girlfriend. Hell, I think part of the reason why she's trying to set you up with a redhead is because she's trying to live through you. Tayuya shrugged, looking over the three possible movies: Battle for the Sage 2, Yojimbo, and Kunai of Steel. Want to see Battle for the Sage 2? I haven't seen the first one. Yojimbo it is. She grabbed his arm, pulling him towards the theater, waving towards the booth operator. Perk of being the Hokage's assistant, and being with the son of the Hokage. Free movies. Especially if they bought some overpriced and super buttered popcorn. Wait, she wasn't paying for it anyways. What about Kunai of Steel? Naruto asked, almost bouncing on one foot behind her. Tayuya rolled her eyes, smiling back at him. That's a chick flick, you watch that, you'll be having your puberty in no time. Though that might be a good thing, your mom can set you up with that Gaara dude if you're a girl. After Naruto bought the popcorn and a drink, the cheapskate only bought one. They headed into the theater, finding a seat in just the right spot. So, why don't you have a boyfriend? Or a girlfriend? Naruto added on that last bit with a smile that she wanted to slap off his face. Like, you're pretty, smart, and funny, it shouldn't be that hard for you. You forgot my award-winning personality and my resting bitch face. Actually, I heard someone say you have a resting, I'm going to kill you face. Tayuya shrugged. They weren't wrong. She did glare at almost everybody far more than she should. It served her well in life. I'm just not interested in anybody. Like at all. Like really, look at the boys around our age. There's Busy Brows, that's probably the hardest pass ever. Neji looks like a pillow biter. That Shikamaru bastard pisses me off for some reason. Basically, they're all undateable trash. Besides, she shrugged, grabbing a handful of popcorn. If I wasn't single, I wouldn't be able to watch movies like this with you. I don't have to worry about hurting someone else's feelings or any of the junk. I get to look out for me and me alone. Being single is great. I never thought about it that way. Naruto leaned back in the chair, smiling as the previews began to start. You know you're pretty smart. PFF'd. Tell me something I don't know. She slapped his arm over and over. Now, shut your fat mouth, the movie is about to start. Oh, man, that was awesome. Right, if I saw that when I was a kid, I'd try to be a samurai or something. You still are a kid, you dork. Hey, you're not that much older than me. Naruto crossed his arms, pouting despite the smile on his face. It lasted for all of a second. But did you see the way he used his sword to cut through that arrow? That was so cool. I know, right? And then the way he cut down the big baddie at the end, what was it that he said again? Tayuya laughed, nudging Naruto in the arm. Her movie partner flipped a bit of his hair down, much like how the samurai had a tuft over his right eye, that hid the eye patch that contained the third demon eye of Sanosuke. I do this not because I enjoy it, but because it is my duty as your vassal. That's it. Man, that guy was, Tayuya hummed, swaying from side to side. Now let's go get some ice cream, and head home. Isn't it close to dinner though? I think mom would be mad if we ate ice cream before dinner. Naruto pursed his lips, eyes closed like he was deep in thought. She grabbed his arm, pulling him down the street again. She was going to force a good time down his throat even if it killed her. Well, it'd probably kill him. I won't tell if you won't. Besides, it's hot as, all we have at the house is popsicles and Karen's lab experiments. And I want something that is chocolatey as shit. I don't think poop is very chocolatey. Shame that the only time you can be smart is when you're being a smartass. Once they had gotten to the ice cream place and she ordered a chocolate monstrosity, that had chocolate sauce, fudge, brownie, chocolate chip cookie dough, all held together by rich chocolate ice cream, while Naruto got a cone of some kind of sherbet, they began a slow walk home. I had a lot of fun today, Tayuya, thanks, Naruto said in between bites of his ice cream. He probably got it because of all the orange. We should do this again sometime. Sure. Just remember you're paying for it. Oh come on. Can't you pay some of the time? Tayuya rolled her eyes, taking another bite of the ice cream. How about, maybe. If I feel like it. That's better than a no. I'm not good at being a mom. Why was she the sane one again? No, sane wasn't quite the right word for that. Responsible. Mature. Adult. Ah, that was the right word for this. Why was she the adult in this house? The closest one to an adult besides her with Karen and the test tube baby Naru. Up next was Sakura and Sasuke, as a distant second. Followed by Naruto of all people. Then sitting way in the back as the least adult person in the whole house who was the actual adult in the Hokage, Kushina Uzumaki. As to how this woman was feared throughout the ninja world was lost on her. Well, she might run the whole village, might as well try and fix all the bullshit that was happening with her home life. Why didn't she move out again? When she found Kushina, the woman was putting up a couple of snow globes on a bookshelf. Naturally, Tayuya forgot all about the reason why she showed up. The is with the snow globes. I get that you're angry because you're suppressing your lesbian urges, but you really need to watch your language, young lady. Kushina hummed. A small smile was on her face as she placed another snow globe on the shelf, adjusting the globe just so. There was a good half dozen or so of the globes lining the top shelf, with another 2 acting as bookends. This was way too many snow globes for a sane person to own. And you're the one that said I needed a hobby besides trying to set my son up with girls. Oh right, that's why she was here. And now she was angry again. She grit her teeth and drummed her fingers along the wall. She needed to remind herself that in theory, Kushina was the best thing to ever happen to her, by a long shot. Before she was just kind of angry and trying to survive, now she was just angry because she liked to be angry. Probably not healthy, but hey, it was her life. Tayuya breathed and closed the door behind her. It probably wouldn't do much good, she could already feel the storm on the horizon. One that would result in both of them shouting and yelling at each other. Her own fault for letting this whole thing fester for such a long time. Still, she had to handle this with all the grace and social tact she could muster. You're a shit mom. Crap. Well, so much for subtlety. Then again, if she was too subtle, Kushina wouldn't get the message, so maybe it was best to take her out back and crush her skull in with the truth stick. It was better than watching the only real family she had go up in smokes. Kushina blinked at her before returning to arranging the snow globes, producing another one from a bag that had looked empty. The only clue that Kushina had heard her was that the smile was gone. Hey, Tayuya snapped. Being ignored was the easiest way to piss her off. She had been prepared for a shouting match. She was going to get something out of Kushina. She was going to fix this here and now. Did you hear me? I said you're a shit mother. You're a barely functioning adult. All you're doing is giving Naruto a place to live instead of actually raising him. You made a big fuss over him going on a training trip so that you could train him how to use the Kyuubi, but guess what? You haven't done that once. You bounce from one new thing to the next, never stopping to even consider the consequences or following things through. And no, I'm not talking about the half-dozen projects you've started as Hokage, because I have no problem with making sure those things get finished. She breathed, taking a step forward. Kushina didn't so much as move, like she was frozen in time. Whatever, that was fine. She had a lot of ammo. But I'm not a mother. I can't raise them, especially when I'm barely a year older than them. Let's start with your daughters, shall we? Not once did you try and teach Naru how to read. Did you know she has an interest in seals? Or that her interest in Sasuke is based purely off of the genetic code that Orochimaru and Kabuto put inside of her? Oh wait, no, that's cute, so you probably just ignored it and smiled. Speaking of Kabuto, why the did you just let him go? The guy is an irredeemable creep. I would know. The bastard raped me twice while I was high as a kite on the drugs he forced me to test. Kushina finally turned to look at her. Her eyes were wide and her arms fell to her side. Yay. I bet you didn't know that about me, did you? Well, guess what, there's a lot more than that. The woman flinched, and said nothing, just biting her lip, being as useless as always. She felt bad for half a second. Maybe she didn't need to be shouting, Maybe they could just sit down and have a nice talk about all this over a cup of tea. That. The anger came rushing back into her like an unending wave. Did you know that Karen still cries at night sometimes because she feels like she's not good enough? She blames herself for her mother's death. Oh, and did you know that up until a few months ago she was cutting herself? You're welcome, by the way. Sasuke's still in the head, even after you removed the seal from him. And guess what? He still wants to kill his brother, but I guess that if you had the chance you'd adopt and forget about him too. But I suppose that the best thing to happen to that kid is because of you, even if it is just a hybrid clone of you that's mentally into loving him. Her voice was cracking now. She was running out of stuff to shout about. Time to break out the big guns. Your own biological son, you know, the one that you abandoned for 13 years only to go surprise. I'm here to say I'm your mom and then not raise you. Really needs his mother. Imagine that, would you? A boy that never knew his parents actually wanting to spend time with you. Go figure. You're so obsessed with trying to find him a girlfriend that you don't spend any time with him. If you did, then you'd realize that all of the girls you picked out for him are complete and utter shit. Especially Sakura and Karen, by the way. You're so obsessed with such a stupid thing that you'd let a criminal walk away from you because he promised to bring you redheads. Which, by the way, is the weirdest fetish I've ever heard. Like, when was the last time you did something as mother and son with him? You don't train him. You're basically a landlord that's way too invested in his love life. She slammed her hand against the wall. Her voice was all but gone and she was short of breath now. And yet Kushina hadn't moved. She stood there like a statue, the rain just sliding off of her. This whole thing had been pointless. Kushina was too dense to realize it, then she was too dense to be told about it. After a moment, not flinching, Kushina moved her hands the smallest amount, doing an open palm shrug, her face twisting into the most pathetic smile she had ever seen. Are you done? Kushina asked her. Her voice cracked like an old boat in the middle of a storm. Tayuya stood straight, squaring her shoulders to glare up at the woman. Fine. If Kushina wasn't going to fight for this piece of shit family, then she would. What do you think? Kushina laughed. Or was it a cry? The mask was breaking, the statue was cracking to reveal the sponge that had absorbed everything she had said. You're right. I am a shit mom. My biggest fear when I was pregnant with Naruto was whether or not I'd be a good mom, Yano. That's why I learned how to cook so good and started doing all the housework. Minato said that I'd be a great mom. I never believed him. I just knew that I could rely on him to help me figure things out. Kushina was one of those ugly criers. That eternal beauty she carried was shattered by a torrent of snot and tears pouring down her face. I thought I'd figure it out eventually. And that I'd have a lot of help. But then, she shrugged again, turning her head to look out the window. All this happened. And I didn't know what to do. All of a sudden my baby wasn't a baby and he was a teenager. One that had lived his whole life with me. I didn't know what to do. So you wanted him to give you a grandkid so you could have a second chance? Tayuya sneered, and Kushina winced. When you put it like that it sounds a lot worse, Kushina mumbled between her sobs. I just want him happy, Yano. And I didn't feel like I was the best person for it. So I wanted him to find a girl that would make him happy, like how Minato made me happy. Is that so bad? I just wanted my son happy. Naruto loves you. Tayuya jabbed her finger into Kushina's chest. You basket case. He's the easiest kid to make happy. All you have to do is give him ramen and say he'll be Hokage one day and he'll smile for a week straight. You want to make him happy. Grow up and spend time with your son. It's not hard. But how? How the should I know? I've never had a kid. And I don't ever want to have a kid. But really, you're asking how to do something for once is rich. Just do it. Not like you can shit up more than it is. Tayuya sighed. Great, now she felt like the bad guy. Also, you're ugly as shit right now, so clean up then go spend time with your son for once in your life. Kushina laughed, trying to rub the ugly from her face with the back of her hands and using her sleeve as a Kleenex. Yes, ma'am. Good. And sorry for yelling at you like that. I was kind of expecting you to shout back and stuff, she mumbled, trying her best not to blush after this victory. Whether or not anything would come of it remained to be seen. Kushina hugged her. Great, now she had snot and shit on her shirt. I'm sorry you had to do this, to begin with, Tayuya. For what it's worth, I do love you, more like a pain in the little sister than anything else, but family all the same. Oh, good to know you can still talk shit when you're crying your eyes out, you useless lesbian. Tayuya smiled, returning the hug as best she could. But I love you too in a completely platonic way. Because I don't roll that way. Whatever helps you sleep at night. From that day forward, Kushina made good on her word and stopped being a complete spazoid and actually started to raise her son and adoptive children. With activities such as training the family dog, Giant Fox, that was sealed inside of her son, getting in touch with relatives, helping Sasuke plot revenge on Itachi, and sampling perfume, there was nothing special about that last one, they were literally testing perfumes. Kushina was the happiest she'd been in quite a while. And nothing was going to rain on her parade short of death. Okay. So maybe there were a few things, but nothing that would actually happen anytime soon. She had a mother-son date with Naruto tonight and they were going to get ramen. They tried going to other places but ramen was just so much better. A knock on the door echoed throughout the house and Kushina knew exactly who it was, no one else knocked like that. Her parade was now considerably rained on. With a sigh stomped to the front door, waving at the rest of her lovely little family as they waited for Naru to cook whatever she was cooking that night. It looked like rice and other not ramen stuff. She took a page from Tayuya's book and put on her best bitch face. What do you want, Kabuto? She was so arresting this guy tonight. And she had the perfect place to keep him. I have succeeded in my mission, Lord Orochimaru. He bowed in the door and gestured towards the 20-odd girls, all with red hair, that stood behind him. All of them looked like they didn't even belong in this fandom, and more than a few were boys. For your son, I present to you Urza Scarlet, Urza Nightwalker, Rias Grimori, Princess Yona, Yoko Ratona, Shoto Todoroki, Colin Statfeld, Shirayuki, Pira Nikos, Morgiana, Nami, Yusa Chelsea, Lysera Ristal, Maki Nishikino, Kirishima Eijiro, Mei Hatsume, Chise Hattori, Mahiru Koizumi, Satanikia Kurmazawa McDowell, better known as Satania, Futaba Sakura. Kushina sighed, glaring at Kabuto. We're full, piss of Kabuto and go to jail. She then slammed the door in his face. She slapped herself. No more setting my son up, remember what Tayuya said. She'd have an Anbu or someone take care of Kabuto. Maybe Kakashi, he wasn't doing anything. Wait. Better idea, Tsunade. There was a knock on the door. It wasn't Kabuto. Yes, she asked, opening it an inch. One of the redheads stood in the doorway. She was wearing armor and had a very nice sword. And her hair was so pretty. Shame she wasn't paying attention to Kabuto's introduction. The red-headed warrior gestured towards Kabuto, who was now tied up, while they work fast. He basically kidnapped us and dragged us here for some reason. Are you okay if we just end him? Oh, problem solved. Please feel free, but no property damage, please.